Long time ago, there lived a lonely, sad, crippled man. His name is Diron. Diron is a cobbler and also helps people around to do other chores to earn a living. Diron lives alone. He has no friend and family. No one wants to associate with him because of his condition. He kept on struggling to survive. Things were very difficult for Diron. Diron got fed up. One day, he decided to leave his own birth town to a neighboring village. Maybe life may be better and meaningful for me, he said to himself. Diron packed few of his things and left very early the next morning, before anyone could see him. Soon he got to a village very far from his hometown. He was very tired, hungry, and thirsty, but he kept going. While walking, he got to another village called Iledun, where he met two young men working on their farm, Ojo and Banji. He greeted them and narrated his story to them. They felt pity for him, so they offered him water and food. They assured him that they would assist him, but he will have to go with them to their parents. He was so happy at the men's offer, he immediately accepted to go with them, as no one has ever helped or showed him love. They later took him and introduced him to their parents. Ojo and Banji's parents welcomed him. They gave him a room in their house and told him to feel at home. The following morning, before Ojo and Banji and their parents could wake up, the crippled man was already up. They met him tidying the house, and Ojo and Banji's parents were surprised. They were happy to see Diron doing so much. They thanked him and told him not to stress himself again. Ojo and Banji came out of the house all ready to go to the farm. Diron asked if he could come with them, but Ojo and Banji refused. But Diron insisted that he would like to come with them to the farm, so they all went together. On their way to the farm, Diron was asking Ojo and Banji questions about the village and the people around. Soon, they got to the farm. Ojo and Banji started working on the farm. Diron joined them by clearing the bushes. As they were walking, talking, and singing, suddenly they heard a gunshot. Everyone had to run for their life. Ojo and Banji ran separate directions, leaving Diron. Diron could not run, so he lay down on the farm and pretended to be dead. Soon, he heard voices. He heard some men walking towards his direction. They happened to be kidnappers. They usually go around villages, kidnapping people for rituals. Diron, hearing this, was so scared, helpless, and afraid. He was still but listening to the kidnappers' conversation as they walked past him. After some time, Ojo and some village vigilante group came back to look for Diron. Luckily, they found him where he was laying. Ojo was scared to see him laying down helplessly. Ojo touched Diron gently and called him. Immediately, Diron heard Ojo's voice. He opened his eyes and stretched his hand to Ojo for Ojo to help him up. He got up and the village vigilante walked them home and told them to stay away from the farm for the time being. When the vigilante group left, Ojo told Diron about how the kidnappers have been terrorizing them and the neighboring villages, and how the village heads has been worried about this problem and how to end it. As this has and is still affecting the development of the villages, as everyone is afraid and scared. Soon, Banji joined them. Banji told them that he had to run to the palace to inform the king. He said that by the time he got to the palace, he met some other villagers at the palace. He met the king, the chief, and the head of vigilante group. They were having a meeting about how to stop and apprehend the kidnappers so that peace will be restored back to the village. Banji told them that the king even sent out the palace guard to go and make announcements at the town center that whosoever have any information that could lead to the arrest of the hoodlums terrorizing them will be handsomely rewarded. Meanwhile, while Duran was laying down on the farm, he heard some of the kidnappers talk about how to re-attack the village when they will be coming back and how they will come. Duran immediately told Ojo and Banji to take him to the palace. Ojo and Banji told their parents about going to the palace. At first, their parents said no, that it is not safe to be walking around, not even after that just happened. They assured their parents that they would go and be back quickly and safe. They went to the palace. They requested to see the king. They got there and Diron introduced himself to the king. The king heard what Diron had to say and called for the vigilante group and the chief to return back to the palace. He told Diron to repeat all he had told him earlier, and Diron repeated himself in the presence of everyone. The king then said to Diron, if truly this information of yours is true, it will be handsomely rewarded. The vigilante group left the palace and got themselves prepared, even called for backups from neighboring villages on the said day, according to Diron. The kidnappers invaded the village, but unfortunately for them, this time they were caught and apprehended by the village vigilantes. Everyone was happy and jubilating because of this great news. The king sent for Diron. Diron, Ojo, Banji, and their parents got to the palace. The king thanked Diron and the king gave him a house and a lot of money. Diron was so happy. He thanked the king. He also thanked Banji, Ojo, and their parents for showing him love, for accepting him. When they got home, the celebration continued in their house. So Diron, Ojo, and Banji started a business with the money given to Diron by the king, and they all moved to the house. Few months later, Diron became a successful businessman. Diron, Ojo, and Banji got married and had their own separate families.